and the Lionesses' incredible triumph at the Euros, many are calling for the victory to serve as a kind of major turning point in girls' sport.
And with rising obesity rates, should there also be more focus on sport for girls and boys at school, with calls to make PE lessons a core part of the curriculum, alongside subjects like English and maths? Well, joining us now to discuss this is Bushra Sheikh, social commentator and mum of three, who says that PE shouldn't be a core subject at school, alongside former professional footballer and ex-PE teacher Darren Eady, who says that it should be, since it teaches children other important skills. I can see why, Darren, you would think that it should be there because you're all about sport and you're taught it as well. But what would go instead, and why is it more important than, you know, history or geography or any of the other stuff?
I don't think it's to take something away from something else. I think it's just to add to the curriculum. Like, look, the sport, I think, gives you so much more than just the subject you're in. You know, it produces people like Chloe Kelly, who we've just seen, you know, and those kind of inspirational figures. So it's a lot more than just the sport itself. You know, there's this team spirit, there's teamwork together, there's you know, huge amounts. There's physiology, there's psychology, there's winning and losing. We learn all those things within the sport and the environment that actually makes you a well-rounded individual. You do get that from other subjects, but I think with sport, it gives you so much more than just the obvious physical
But how would you make it a core subject? I mean, that implies that it would be a GCSE or an A-level. Is that what you're saying? Yeah,
absolutely, but there's no different from any other way. You can still have GCSE, and I know some kids do GCSE PE within the curriculum already, so it's not an issue. And it's about giving those kids the opportunity, because I wasn't particularly good at maths or English, but I excelled at sport. And it's not just about the elite athletes that are going to go on and succeed.
Only so many hours in a school timetable, as you will know as a teacher. So something would have to go instead.
Yeah, well, I don't think it does. I don't think it does. You can balance it out. You know, there's no reason why sport can be introduced a little bit more and take away something else. I know it has to be that something has to be given.
Well, something has to give, doesn't it?
Yeah,
it does a little bit, but the importance of what sport gives you, I think, gives you that extra benefit than it does to taking something else away.
So in your school, for example, let's say you've got PE, I don't know, once a week. How many times would you have PE?
It depends on the age groups, but sometimes they're only going out and doing PE twice a week, so for a couple of hours.
Well, say it's a GCE course. If you were doing it as a GCSE, how many periods of PE would you have?
Well, a lot. Yeah, they're doing 5 or 6 hours a week.
Yeah, if you're doing GCSE, this is about making it a core subject.
Yeah, I know.
It's not an option. So if you did a core subject, would you do it every day? Would you do it 3 or 4 times a week? What would you do?
Well, it's not enough at the moment, but I think certainly 3 or 4 times a week is achievable and something that should be added to the curriculum. It gives you, as I said, it gives you so much more than just the obvious sides of obesity. Help with that, and your physicality and your mental state as well. You know, sport is, and actually helps you perform better in school as well.
I mean, the thing is that there's some people, and we've seen it a lot in primary schools, haven't we, where they do sport every day. They start with, you know, 20 minutes of sport, either after lunch or at the beginning of the day, and it sets up for every other subject.
Yeah.
What is wrong with that?
The thing is, I believe sports is quite niche. So, I mean, if they're doing already 2 or 3 times a week, that's quite a lot. And, you know, we've got to consider what we're talking about. Primary school level here, are we talking about children older than that?
They're talking about secondary.
So they're actually talking about an option that is actually available. We don't have to make it a core subject for it to be impactful, just as long as it's an option, because my main concern would be, if we do make PE a core subject, is that taking away from the core subjects that do exist, that still need some kind of overhaul, because children need imagination. They want to be inspired. They need to have that motivation. Education itself, all round, needs more, you know, more like an overhaul, really. So my concern would be, if we do make PE as a core subject, are we going to lose the focus on what the main...
You're basically saying there aren't enough hours in the day.
If you had to choose, maths and English, I think people would say was a basic, but if you had to choose between science or sport being a core subject, which would you pick?
I would 100% go science. I think life skills, transferable life skills, even expanding the mathematics, making it advanced, teaching the kids about life skills over PE when PE exists.
You can't get any more life skills than you can within sport. That for me, is the ultimate kind of life skills that you learn to win and lose, you know, camaraderie, teamwork, all those things we want. I've got 2 young girls, and I want them to be happy, healthy, well-rounded, competitive, hard-working children.
Team players.
Team players, you can get that within the sport. I'm not sure... I know lots of business owners who... I talk about their employees quite a lot and what do they look for when they're interviewing someone. And it's not about the grades so much nowadays, it's about the personality.
Well, you seem to be saying then that basically you're introducing a GCSE, in this case, for more social skills. That seems to be
absolutely, but that's what I think is important in life nowadays. You know, I look at there's huge amounts of increase within 16 to 18 bracket now with education and sport put together in terms of programmes. The growth in that's been huge over the last few years. So why shouldn't it be introduced at an earlier age? Because it inspires people, but it also introduces you to...
Well, you're not going to persuade her, but it's good to have the debate. Thanks both very much indeed for coming in. We appreciate that. Thank you.